Joining us right now is Jim Van Stone. He's got a fancy title. He's the president of business operations and chief commercial officer at Monumental Sports and Entertainment, a good friend of the show. Happy Valentine's Day, JVS.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. And, you guys actually should plan on taking your sweethearts and your Valentines out to a Caps or Wizards game down the line.
I might be doing that. Put in the
I think I
banks.
got time. I think I'm going to the Warriors
You
game,
guys
right?
still haven't done the loft.
No, the Hennessy. Yeah, the Hennessy.
Is it called the Loft?
It is. It's the Hennessy Loft.
That's
and
right.
honestly, that's only a sampling of hopefully what we're going to build out for the fan experience at Potomac Yard.
All right, so let's get into it. I don't know. Did you hear? Did you hear our interview with Andrew McDonald? And maybe you can tell us if you've had any experience talking to him and his group, which is the Coalition to Stop the Arena.
You know, I haven't personally met Andrew, and I think we appreciate everyone's opinion. I mean, and we're really bullish on the opportunity. We think, certainly facts are a stubborn thing, and, we think this is a game-changing opportunity not only for our fans but for the market. It talks about the regionalism of, what we think we represent here in the overall DMV, and, we think it's going to be a game-changing opportunity not only for the state of Virginia, the city of Alexandria, but I think for the region as a whole. From a sports fan standpoint. So we're excited about it.
Jim, can you give us a little perspective here just sort of on the process? Because I was under the impression that, okay, this part passed, right? And then the next part, they're thinking it may not. And then it sounded like Andrew thinks like, that's it. It's just going to squash it. But I feel like there's a lot more that can happen. This could be like a prolonged thing, right? Were you surprised at his sort of, excitement at the possibility of this being a dead deal?
You know what? I think we respect everyone's opinion. No, we weren't surprised. We were really excited about the opportunity. I think the vote in the legislature we were very happy with the win yesterday. In that process, it really had a great opportunity to progress the bill into the Senate. And you know what? We feel really good about the overall project. Our government relations people have spent a ton of time down in Richmond. We worked with a lot of key constituents. The city of Alexandria has been a fantastic partner for us in this process, but we think we're just really gaining momentum. And, I think the most important thing for us is really to make sure over, hopefully the next 4 weeks or so that we really educate the greater community on, the impact of what this project is going to bring, not only to Northern Virginia, but the greater Washington region.
Jim, one of the things that I think you guys have pointed out to people that are disappointed that you'd be moving out of the city is how close it is to the city. You've talked about the proximity, that it's less than 4 miles from the current arena. Now, what the other side has said is, well, it's not set up for an arena. Can you address that specifically, like parking is going to be an issue?
So, you know what, that is the biggest thing that we're focused on. I think, and the great thing is that we've got a 5-year runway before the project actually opens and the arena opens. I mean, there is a huge commitment, not only from the city, the state, us at Monumental, our partners in JBG Smith. I mean, transportation is going to be critical. And, we've got really great experts, a company called Kimley Horn that's doing studies and analysis for us. And, we think there is a, really great runway to make it as easy and convenient as possible. There's going to be more parking spots on the arena complex. You guys have parked in the arena, before at Capital One Arena.
Thanks
we only
to
have
you.
about 300 parking spots. I mean, we're going to have 2,200 parking spots, within a block radius, of the arena and surrounding the arena. So I think between that, the metro stop, the public transportation, the ride shares, I mean, there is going to be a tremendous amount of effort and focus on that. And we think the transportation piece is going to be smooth and easy. I mean, but it's going to take a lot of work and dedication. And, there's a big commitment from all the parties to really support that in a robust
Jim,
way.
can I follow up with that? So, because I don't, I'm not sure I was under that impression. So are you saying that the new spot will ultimately have more parking than the current spot?
As far as our arena complex, yes, without a doubt. I mean, the surrounding areas and everything like that, I think, collectively, there's a couple thousand spots. So there's going to be really ample amount of parking spaces for guests to come in and patrons to come in. And, that was a key decision maker for us. We wanted to make sure that the transportation, the ease of getting to the campus was as convenient as it possibly could be for our customers and fans. And, that's always been a focus of Ted. I mean, he has always talked to, and we organizationally have talked about the driveway to driveway driveway experience for our guests. I mean,
Right.
that matters in the overall experience, and we want to make it smooth and easy. So, yes, there's going to be a lot of focus on the transportation piece of it. And, at the same point in time, I think we want to be respectful. We're going to be a new member of the neighborhood, and we want to be and do things right for the community of Alexandria, the Del Rey community, and the surrounding areas.
Well, how can you make the I'm sure you guys have thought of it. I'm sure you have an answer, but how can you make the coming and going easier if there's really only one way in and out?
I think maybe there is expansion of lanes. I think there's dedicated lanes. I think there's timing of lights that can be really efficiently done. I think there's,
You build like an overpass or something?
What's that?
Do you build like is there a way to do something like that? Like new roads? Like
there could be possibilities of that. I mean,
doing
certainly,
studies.
Exits off of, a variety of different thoroughfares could happen in the process. I think opening up, space. I mean, the location of the arena is going to be 3 blocks in from Route 1, hugging basically the GW Parkway. So there is a lot of ways to create the landscape to really make it a lot more efficient for guests coming into the building and arena. And, that's critical for us. I mean, we don't want people to have longer commutes to get to the facility. We want people to come early and stay late. I mean, we want to make it,
Right.
as turnkey as possible. So I think that's a big commitment. And, public transportation is a big part of that also. I mean, we will work with WMATA and, I think hopefully expanding the opportunity with the metro stop that's there. I think there's rideshare opportunities from that standpoint, certainly busing and shuttles. I mean, there's a variety of different ways that you really can, approach this in a very robust way. And there's a big commitment from all parties to make sure that that's a primary focus.
Jim, in a hypothetical world, say the Alexandria location just falls through, it's dead. Does Ted and Monumental, do they have alternate sites, like backup sites that you guys are scouting? You got to have some
Plan
sort of
B.
contingency plan in case this doesn't work out.
So you know what? I think we're really highly committed to this project. We think this is the most incredible location. We think it's the best centrally located to make it convenient for fans across the entire DMV. So our customers coming from Maryland, from other parts of Virginia, even from the district, we think that's an ideal location. And, we're putting all of our, focus on that. We think it is the biggest transformational opportunity. You guys know the arena itself. I mean, right now at Capital One Arena, we have 4 acres of land. This is 12 acres of land, better part of a 70-acre development. So there is a much bigger and bolder landscape. And then as you're part of National Landing, I mean, the north of everyone knows is Amazon HQ2. You've got Boeing's headquarters. And our neighbor right next to us is going to be the Virginia Tech Innovation Campus for their School of Engineering. So we're really excited about that. We think this is the right spot for us. And, I think that's why we're putting so much focus on the Potomac Yard location.
Talking to Jim Van Stone, President of Business Operations, Chief Commercial Officer at Monumental Sports and Entertainment. I get the land part. I get all of that. But Kevin Blackistone in the Washington Post wrote about the cultural aspect of moving the team out of D.C. I'm using his language. He said, it's a stabbing, a deep stabbing, excision, a cutting out of yet another part of what was the soul of the city. And in particular, he writes about kind of the black culture and moving basketball out of D.C. How tough is that for you guys to actually do that?
Well, first off, we respect everyone's opinion. We don't think that's the case at all. We think really we get tremendous support from the district. We get tremendous support from Maryland. We get it from the Virginia. We get it from, the diverse audience of what we have in the greater Washington region. There is not really a big diversity difference between district and the Alexandria location, but we feel really good about, that process. I think one of the things that's really important for us is really, the education process of the next 4 years before we move into the new arena. And, we have been deeply committed to, the district, the community at large. And, I think even, the entertainment and sports arena, we bring 60 basketball games a year just about to the entertainment and sports arena right now in that space. So, we're fully committed to that. We don't think, we're ripping out anything from anyone from under them. And, I think we've got some time to really educate the marketplace on that.
This is a hypothetical, but did D.C. even have a shot? So the mayor of D.C. said, we'll give you $500 million. This was not necessarily what you guys wanted. Mm-hmm. You wanted more than that, but D.C. was willing to give $500 million to stay there. Let's say D.C. was able to give you everything you had wanted. Would you have stayed there despite the lack of acreage?
I think it really is about the expansion of the property. If you look at us
So
now,
it's done deal anyway.
We own multiple teams. We own multiple venues. I mean, we've got a media network. We're just growing at a really large rate. And the experience of the modern NBA and NHL buildings really need a bigger landscape. So I think that the expansion is really the biggest focus for us. I mean, right now we have employees located in 5 or 6 different buildings all over the district, in Northern Virginia. And this allows us to centralize our employees into one space. I think it allows us to work on the fan experience at a much broader level, with having one major complex that's really going to be driving a lot of our key fans to come out to the events that we host. And, we think, that space along with, we're more than just, the 80 Capitals and Wizards games.
Sure.
We do 60-plus concerts a year. We do multiple family shows. We think this process and what could be an immersive experience happens through the land piece of this, and that's one of the things that we're really excited about. The conversation with the district, we've been having conversations for the past 2 years, and, it was something that, the Virginia opportunity arose in that time, and we felt that this was the right direction for us to really focus on.
But it's less to do, Jim, if I'm hearing right, it's less to do with money. It's less to do with, crime in the area. It's more to do with land.
For us, it is. It's about expansion. It's about creating better experiences for our fans. It's about, people coming early and staying later. It's about immersive experiences that people can have on the campus. That's the biggest driver for us, along with the, experience that our athletes and our employees and, people in our community have. So for us, we thought that was the right direction. We believe that's the right direction in terms of the way we're going. So, there's been great history for us in the district. We're proud of that. And, we've also offered to continue to be a Capital One Arena in a really robust way from an entertainment facility standpoint and, working in alignment with the district. So we've been very clear in that messaging. And, I think certainly the mayor and others will have those decisions to make. But, I think, for us, this is about expansion. And, we also have a deep commitment to the city that we want to stay in that place and really help reimagine, what the Penn Quarter District could be.
So hold on. Yeah, let me I have another question. But so the idea is, in a perfect world, if you have your way, you build a new arena, but then not only do you have like where the Go-Go play, but you would still have Capital One, and you'd have, instead of 100 concerts a year, 300 concerts a year or whatever. Is that the idea?
Yeah, we think the music business is growing rapidly. We think we've become a great destination for NCAA events. We think in a perfect partnership, we could work in alignment with, the convention center and help them bring in more major events on an annual basis. I think we believe in the growth of women's sports, and, the Mystics have outgrown our 4,000-seat arena, and, most of the WNBA teams need arenas that are 10,000 plus, and the growth of women's sports deserves an opportunity from that standpoint. So I think we're bullish in the fact that we believe that we can operate that building for 100 to 120 events a year. And, it's going to take a great partnership with the district. But I think when it comes to the NBA, the NHL, platform and the growth of it, having more space and expansion opportunities to really highlight, what we do, we think is important. And we think it's great from a fan journey standpoint, a fan experience standpoint, and, hopefully it creates a lot of value. And, I think everyone knows in the marketplace, our commitment, overall to growing the games. We bought our regional sports network really to help grow the game. Our fans come from, north of Baltimore, south of Richmond. We are the 3rd largest DMA in the country in the greater Washington region. So, like us buying the broadcast, we really wanted to hyper focus on, improving that broadcast experience of people who are following our teams that can't be at the live event itself. So, we look at this, opportunity now on the physical piece of it, on the arena growth, as potentially an opportunity to even expand on some of those efforts.
Jim, quickly, let me just ask you about the political side of it. So, again, the process is what's confusing to a lot of us. So you guys get a win. You talk about this 4-week window, I assume, where there's going to be the next vote. Could this all, like, you're optimistic? You got a 4-week period here where you're going to really educate people, but what other hurdles do you have? Like, what if the vote doesn't go your way? I know you're optimistic that it will. If it doesn't, is it dead, or are there other avenues? There are other processes? Because people talk about, they don't want to give Youngkin a win, right? Or that now politics gets involved in all
Right.
this.
Everything's political.
Yeah, and they're going to have to wait a year and all that. Can you talk about those different scenarios?
I think we believe in what we've shared, and we've been very transparent in it. We think this opportunity creates 30,000 plus jobs. We think it's a $12 billion economic impact for the state of Virginia and also the city of Alexandria. I think we're focused on it. We feel very confident in, the process, and we're comfortable that, the overall framework of the agreement from the MEI, which was the initial vote in December, through, passing in the House, we think we can get through the next steps of the Senate process. And I think we are committed to working with all of our key partners in making that a reality. And, I think that's really the big focus for us. I think, one of the great things that we have over the next couple of weeks is the opportunity for those people that have questions and those, key people that we support from political landscape, making sure that they have all the information so they can accurately decide, those final steps. And I think we're optimistic that by the middle of March, we'll have all those approvals in place. So I think that's our big focus right now. And, we're hyper, targeting on that outcome. So I think we feel really good about the direction we're going in.
JBS, quick. I don't know if you answered this because I'm just confused at everything. But are the Mystics going to play at Cap One, or I think there was a tweet from Monumental saying that they're going to play at Entertainment Sports Arena. Is that true?
Yeah, I think right now we're committed to the entertainment and sports arena.
Okay.
We think in partnership, there is a landscape in the future to hopefully move the Mystics to Capital One Arena. We think a lot of that is based on the need for, more seats and more capacity for the women's game and the way it's growing from that standpoint. So, I think we're optimistic in time that, as we look at, the next generation of Capital One Arena and what that landscape may look like, that the Mystics are a part of it. But, in that time between now and then, we're certainly going to, still have one of the best atmospheres in the WNBA at the entertainment sports arena. And, it's interesting with, the growth of the women's game. It's funny. The secondary ticket market is booming for the Mystics. And you know what? There's not too many sports that have had that opportunity, when it's come to the women's game. So I think we're outgrowing that space. But, I think in the short period of time, our commitment and focus is, to continue to play at the entertainment sports arena.
Jim, are you going to put me in the Hennessy Loft? Is that where I'm going to be, or for the Warriors?
I think we're going to have more transformational opportunities. So yeah, we'll maybe take a look at a Loft experience. But I think EB, we'll have probably some other opportunities that you may want to dabble in as we go into this new arena. I think
No, he's talking about next
about the
week.
Warriors game.
Oh, you're talking to Warriors. Oh man,
where are you going to
put me?
You guys are
in the moment. I thought you guys were also. I heard you guys earlier today talking about Luke Bryan too. So I didn't know if you were positioning, for that big show that we have coming to the.
No,
arena,
you know what? I actually bought tickets to the Zach Bryan show for my wife and all them. But no, they bought them in Philly for some reason. Maybe
Zach
because
Bryan or Luke Bryan?
Zach Bryan.
Oh, Zach Bryan.
I think we botched it though.
Oh, okay.
So you know what? I'm working on the Warriors experience. I know I've got a lot of pressure on me from that standpoint in a couple weeks. So you got my commitment that we'll make sure that you guys have a really cool experience. So we'll try to see if we can make that happen.
Very
Jim,
good.
you're the best.
Thank you,
Just
Jim.
throw into parking.
Parking's
Thank you.
key.
Thank
Parking
you,
is key.
Jim.
It's
All
Jim
right,
Van
thanks, guys.
Stone,
Take
President
care.
of Business
right.
Operations and Chief Commercial Officer at Monumental Sports and Entertainment.